Have you ever felt that unmistakable tingle on the back of your neck, that primal instinct screaming, "Someone's watching me," only to whip your head around and find absolutely nothing there? It's a classic unsettling human experience, right? Now, imagine scaling that exact feeling, that pervasive sense of unseen eyes, to the entire planet. What if it's not just a fleeting sensation, but a persistent reality? In the last 18 months alone, U.S. naval aviators, some of the most highly trained and credible observers on Earth, have logged an astonishing 398 encounters with objects that simply defy explanation. These aren't blurry photos or shaky cam videos. These are sophisticated military sensors, trained eyes, and cutting-edge radar systems confirming something truly extraordinary. The Pentagon, a notoriously cautious and tight-lipped institution, has openly admitted it can't explain 144 of these incidents. Think about that for a second. Nearly 150 times, our most advanced military couldn't identify what was in our skies, outmaneuvering our best fighters with ease. And it's not just our atmosphere. Out in the vast cosmic ocean, fresh radio whispers from nearby stars, tantalizingly close to what we'd expect from an intelligent civilization, keep popping up. But here's the kicker. They vanish the instant we try to listen closer, like someone hitting the mute button just as we lean in. If these revelations don't make your skin crawl, if they don't spark a profound curiosity and perhaps a touch of unease, then you'd better keep watching. Because by the end of this countdown, I guarantee you'll be asking yourself who's really piloting the telescope, and perhaps who's holding the remote control. Tonight, we're not just speculating. We're running the numbers, looking at the cold, hard data, and examining 5 profoundly unsettling signals that something out there is most definitely keeping tabs on us. We're going to journey from the merely weird, the slightly off-kilter observations, all the way to the flat-out impossible, phenomena that shatter our understanding of physics. And listen, every single example you'll hear tonight isn't some fringe conspiracy theory or blurry anecdote from a lone eyewitness. Oh no. Each one has been rigorously corroborated by military censors, meticulously reviewed and often peer-reviewed scientific data, or declassified archives that even the most hardened skeptic can't easily dismiss. So let's leave the tinfoil hats in the closet, shall we? This isn't about wild speculation. It's about taking an honest, unflinching look at why an increasing number of credible scientists, engineers, and even former government officials are now openly saying, we are probably being observed. So go ahead, grab your favorite drink, maybe double check that the door is locked, and let's dive headfirst into the abyss of the unknown, starting with number 5, the Arctic Triangle. Remember the viral headlines from 2019, the ones that made everyone do a double take? That was the year the U.S. Navy officially acknowledged a series of astonishing encounters off the California coast. Among them, fighter jets from the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group caught something truly bizarre. A pyramid-shaped craft, stark and geometric, drifting silently above the USS Russell. Imagine being a pilot soaring through the sky in a multi-million-dollar war machine and seeing something utterly alien, something that shouldn't exist, just there. Radar operators on board the Russell pegged its altitude at a consistent 13,000 feet, a seemingly mundane detail until, snap, it executed an impossible maneuver, diving at incredible speed and vanishing without a trace into the vast depths of the Pacific Ocean. No splash, no debris, just gone. Now, here's where it gets even stranger, and where our story takes a chilling turn towards the Arctic. That very same month, nearly 2,000 miles north, an almost identical triangular object was tracked by the Alaskan Radar Array at Mount Hayes. Coincidence? Perhaps.
But then you dig a little deeper, and the coincidences start to feel less like chance and more like a carefully orchestrated pattern. Mount Hayes isn't just any mountain. Declassified CIA memos from the Cold War era Project Stargate, yes, the government program that explored psychic remote viewing, reveal a truly mind-bending detail. Remote viewers, individuals purportedly capable of seeing distant locations or events with their minds, were tasked with sensing underground installations beneath that exact mountain. One such viewer, a man named Pat Price, whose reports are now part of the public record, sketched intricate tunnels, sophisticated computer systems, and this phrase is in the official file, it's not made up, non-human humanoids cooperating with uniformed personnel. Let that sink in for a moment. A declassified government document describing an underground facility with aliens working alongside military personnel. The military, naturally, never officially validated Price's fantastical claims. Yet, despite the inherent absurdity on the surface, they kept the Project Stargate program funded for 18 long years, pouring resources into exploring the very edge of human perception and, apparently, beyond. So is it a coincidence? Maybe, but the story doesn't end there. Every single pilot who has flown Combat Air Patrol, or CAP, over Mount Hayes since 2020 reports the same unnerving phenomenon. A weird, persistent radar ghost. It's a dark, triangular return that hangs stubbornly at 8,000 feet, ignoring every radio challenge, every attempt at identification. Then, just as suddenly as it appears, it simply melts off the scope, leaving nothing but an empty screen and bewildered air crews. If this advanced, silent, triangular craft is ours, some secret U.S. black project, then nobody bothered to brief the squadron commanders who are actively trying to identify it. And if it's theirs, well, they seem awfully comfortable loitering above a mountain rumored to house something we're definitely not meant to see. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's really hiding beneath the permafrost? And who are its occupants? The implications are as chilling as the Alaskan winds.
The 50-foot cube. Fast forward just a couple of years to 2021, and the encounters continue, getting even more surreal. Imagine being an F-18 pilot, a seasoned ace on a routine training hop off the coast of Virginia Beach. It's a clear day, nothing out of the ordinary, until you glance to your left, and there it is. A matte gray cube, stark and featureless, no wings, no discernible exhaust, utterly silent, encased within a shimmering, translucent sphere. The pilot, whose identity remains classified, estimated its size, roughly 4 meters per side, a perfect cube. And its distance? A mere 50 feet from his cockpit, close enough to touch, close enough to make your heart pound out of your chest. This object wasn't just observing, it was engaging. It paced the F-18, matching its speed at a blistering 310 knots. Then, without warning, it executed a maneuver that defies every law of physics we know. It flipped 90 degrees on its axis and cut directly across the fighter jet's flight path with an acceleration that the utterly stunned pilot later described as physics-breaking. The Navy, predictably, classified the footage of this impossible aerial ballet, but the pilot's voice recording, raw with the mix of awe and terror, later leaked, and one line stands out, echoing in the minds of anyone who hears it. It reacted like it knew my next move. Let that sink in for a moment. This wasn't a random encounter. This wasn't a bird, a balloon, or even an enemy drone. Whatever this thing was, it displayed predictive maneuvering. It anticipated a highly trained human's evasive instinct, almost as if it was playing a game of chess, always several moves ahead.
We're not talking about swamp gas or weather anomalies here. We're dealing with a device that demonstrates an understanding of human psychology and tactical intent. If an adversary, say Russia or China, possessed technology that could make our multi-million-dollar F-18 fighters look like the Wright Flyers, the intelligence briefers in Washington, D.C. would be screaming from the rooftops. There would be a national crisis, an immediate shift in defense strategy. Instead, the official report on this astonishing incident shrugs with a bureaucratic indifference that is almost as unsettling as the sighting itself. Category unresolved. The chilling implication is clear, and it's one that keeps many defense analysts awake at night. It isn't Russia, it isn't China, and it's definitely not us. So, if this advanced, almost sentient technology isn't from any earthly power, who or what is the seasoned ace behind the stick? Who possesses the ability to not just defy our physics, but to anticipate our every move? The 50-foot cube wasn't just a sighting. It was a profound, unnerving demonstration of a technological superiority that challenges our very place at the top of the planetary food chain. The trans-medium dives. Now, let's talk about something that truly pushes the boundaries of belief: trans-medium travel. In July 2022, the crew of the USS Omaha, another U.S. naval vessel, recorded an object performing a maneuver that still sends shivers down the spines of naval engineers. This craft, captured on multiple sensors, was observed dropping from an astonishing altitude of 80,000 feet. That's nearly 15 miles high, to sea level in a staggering 0.8 seconds. Do the math. That's roughly 60,000 miles per hour. Let me repeat that. 60,000 miles per hour. And here's the impossible part. It did so without creating a sonic boom, without incinerating itself from atmospheric friction, and without leaving any visible trace of propulsion. But it didn't stop there. The same object, defying every known law of hydrodynamics and physics, then smoothly entered the ocean, traversed 200 nautical miles underwater at incredible speed, and then, just as effortlessly, exited the water again. No wake, no heat plume, no visible propulsion system. It was as if the water offered no resistance, as if the air was merely an afterthought. Rear Admiral Scott Scoville, a man whose career is built on understanding naval capabilities, later told Congress with palpable bewilderment, "We have no earthly explanation." Think about the weight of that statement coming from such a high-ranking military official. It's not "we don't know yet." It's "we have no earthly explanation." Transmedium travel, the ability to seamlessly transition between air, space, and water at extreme velocities, is a neat parlor trick that most physicists rate as centuries away from human capability. We struggle with basic underwater propulsion. The idea of something moving at 60,000 miles per hour through air and then water is frankly absurd by our current understanding. Yet here we are, watching it unfold on a $12 million flare pod bolted to a frigate. This isn't theoretical, it's documented empirical evidence. And the part that truly keeps naval engineers and strategists awake at night, this isn't an isolated incident. Every single carrier group in the U.S. Navy now records at least one transmedium event per deployment. Let that sink in. This isn't a rare anomaly. It's becoming a regular occurrence. Either our oceans are swarming with secret U.S. drones operating with technology that utterly defies the known laws of physics and that even our own admirals can't explain, or something with a non-human origin is consistently stress testing our defenses. It's almost as if they're logging how we react, observing our capabilities, and perhaps, more chillingly, assessing our vulnerabilities. The implications for national and global security are profound and terrifying. If we can't even comprehend the physics behind these objects, how can we possibly defend against them? The vanishing signals. Let's zoom out now, way out. beyond our atmosphere, beyond our solar system, to the vast cosmic expanse. For decades, scientists have been listening, hoping to catch a whisper, a distant echo of another intelligent civilization. And in 2023, we got something tantalizingly close. Astronomers, leveraging the immense power of machine learning pipelines, sifted through mountains of data from the Green Bank Telescope, one of the world's premier radio observatories. What they uncovered was extraordinary. 8 narrowband signals, highly specific and structured, parked around 5 sun-like stars located between 30 and 90 light years away. What made these signals so captivating? They drifted in frequency in precisely the way a transmitter on an orbiting exoplanet would. Imagine a radio beacon circling a distant star. Its signal would subtly shift as it moves towards and away from us. These signals did just that. It was the kind of pattern that screams artificial to any SETI researcher. The team, understandably electrified, immediately followed up, repointing the massive dish with precision. Nothing. Silence. They repeated the cycle, meticulously checking, rechecking. The pattern was consistent. The signal would show up, the telescope would swivel to investigate, and then cosmic hush. It's like trying to catch a ghost on camera. The moment you press record, it vanishes. Statistically speaking, natural sources, pulsars, quasars, cosmic background noise, don't time their appearances to our observing schedule. They don't play hide and seek. Lead researcher Dr. Peter Ma, a man of rigorous scientific discipline, admits that the simplest explanation is technology, but we can't claim it until it repeats. This is the cornerstone of scientific verification, reproducibility. Without it, even the most compelling data remains unconfirmed. Yet, every veteran in the SETI community knows this frustrating dance. The wow factor spikes, the incredibly promising signals that never, ever repeat are often the ones that most closely match our own leakage profile. What's a leakage profile? It's the signature of our own civilization's radio emissions, the constant chatter of TV, radio, and military radar that leaks out into space. From a distance, our own radio leakage would appear as short bursts, a frequency smear, and then, poof, gone. The instant a curious alien civilization tried to steer back with their own telescopes. It feels eerily like 2 kids playing hide behind the curtains in adjacent windows. One peeks out, sees the other. But the moment the second kid turns to look, the first one ducks away. Each is convinced the other hasn't noticed. What if these vanishing signals aren't just random cosmic noise, but a deliberate act? What if they are listening, and when they detect our attention, they simply go quiet? It's a cosmic game of peekaboo, and it leaves us with the profound, unsettling question. Are we merely observers in this vast universe? Or are we too being observed? Our every attempt to reach out met with a deliberate, calculated silence.
Quick CTA. If you're still with me, still pondering these profound mysteries, then you absolutely need to hit that subscribe button, because the next story, the #1 slot, is the one that convinced a NASA panel member to openly speculate we may already be pets in a cosmic zoo. The 2004 Tic Tac, master of the chessboard. You've probably seen the grainy, black and white infrared footage by now. It's iconic, etched into the public consciousness. A stark, white, pill-shaped craft, dubbed the Tic Tac due to its uncanny resemblance to the breath mint. This was the Nimitz incident of 2004, and it's arguably the most credible, rigorously documented UAP encounter in history. But here's the detail. The truly crucial piece of information that most news outlets, in their rush to simplify, tragically skip.
Commander David Fravor, the lead pilot of the FA-18 Super Hornet Squadron, was a seasoned Navy aviator, the best of the best. His wingman, Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, then Lieutenant Alex Dietrich, flying close behind him, later emphasized something extraordinary. The object didn't just react to their approach, it mirrored their intercept pattern before they had even committed to one. Think about that. It was as if it was reading their playbook in real time, anticipating their every tactical move before they even made it. When Fravor, in a desperate attempt to engage, spiraled down for a merge, a classic fighter maneuver to get behind an adversary, the Tic Tac didn't flee or accelerate away. Instead, it climbed, then executed an impossible descent, dropping from 28,000 feet to his altitude in a mind-bending 0.6 seconds. And here's the truly physics-defying part. It matched his energy state perfectly. For a pilot, energy state is everything. It's your speed, your altitude, your momentum. To match it instantaneously without any visible means of propulsion or aerodynamic surfaces requires not just thrust, but an instantaneous, precise knowledge of Fravor's vector, his exact intention, and the physics required to counter it. It was a chess game, played at impossible speeds, and the Tic Tac was always several moves ahead. But the story doesn't end with Fravor and Dietrich's harrowing close encounter. After they returned to the USS Princeton, the Advanced Spy-1 radar system, the most sophisticated naval radar in the world, registered several similar objects. These Tic Tacs were descending from above 80,000 feet, far beyond the reach of conventional aircraft, and forming a loose grid pattern over a 60-mile box in the Pacific Ocean. Grid patterns. Think about that for a moment. What do we use grid patterns for? Surveying, mapping, systematic observation. No human pilot, no matter how skilled, has ever been able to replicate the energy management, the instantaneous acceleration, or the transmedium capabilities demonstrated by the Tic Tac. Yet the exact same performance envelope, these impossible maneuvers, these physics-defying speeds, has now been recorded in every major UAP incident since 2004, including the ones we've already discussed. One craft outflying us is a novelty, a curiosity, a formation of them, appearing consistently, drawing methodical survey lines over our most sensitive naval training areas is not a novelty. It's a mission. And that mission, disturbingly, appears to be reconnaissance. Reconnaissance of the species that just learned carrier strike tactics, of a species that is rapidly advancing its military capabilities. The Tic Tac wasn't just a sighting. It was a profound, chilling message. Conclusion. So, let's tally the score, shall we? This isn't a collection of disparate anecdotes. It's a mosaic of compelling, verified data points that paints an increasingly coherent and profoundly unsettling picture. We've got silent geometric triangles camping above a mountain rumored in declassified documents to hide an alien outpost. We've seen a wingless cube that predicts fighter jet moves with an almost pre-sight intelligence, playing a cosmic game of chess with our most advanced pilots. We've documented objects treating our vast oceans as mere highways, effortlessly transitioning between air and water at speeds that defy our every understanding of physics. We've chased tantalizing narrow-band radio whispers from distant stars, signals timed to our telescopes, only to have them vanish like a phantom in the night. And perhaps most chillingly, we have a growing fleet of Tic Tacs demonstrating impossible capabilities, running methodical grid patterns over our Navy's most sensitive training areas. None of these data points, taken in isolation, definitively prove non-human intelligence. But stacked together, meticulously corroborated by military sensors, scientific instruments, and credible eyewitnesses, they paint a pattern far older than aviation itself, perhaps even older than recorded human history. We are being watched, we are being measured, and occasionally, We are being shadowed by a technology so advanced it treats Newtonian physics like a polite suggestion, a set of guidelines rather than immutable laws. The next time you feel that inexplicable prickle on your neck, that nagging sensation of unseen eyes, remember this. It might not be paranoia. It might not be your imagination playing tricks. It might just be confirmation. Drop your thoughts below. Which of these signs disturbs you the most? And what do you think it would truly take for humanity to finally respond as one unified species, rather than squabbling separate tribes? Like, share, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. Assuming, of course, that we're still the ones controlling the cameras.